thank you all for taking some time to spend with us. And Retain and Employment First are going to present employer supports for families with young children today. So while people continue to roll in, we'll go ahead and get started on some of the housekeeping items. So let's jump right in, and just want to share our disclaimer that while we make every attempt to provide information, it does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Employment First Council, the University of Kentucky Human Development Institute, or our individual employees. And we make every attempt to provide accessible, accurate, and current information in our presentations. My name is Kimberly Wickert, and I am with the University of Kentucky Human Development Institute and the Retain program. I am a Gen X female with glasses, blonde shoulder length hair, and today I'm wearing a black top. And our objectives that we will cover today are to hear state and national resources, including Child Care Aware of Kentucky, that will allow employers to support employees with young children. We're also going to review Kentucky-based examples of employer-child care partnerships, as well as strategies to assess employee needs and Kentucky-based resources available to assist. So I am so excited to have our subject matter experts today. We have Kate Dean, and for over 25 years, Kate has served within various sectors, including child welfare, behavioral health, and early care and education. Kate's passionate about leveraging public-private relationships to do more and serve more efficiently through collaboration and resource sharing. Currently serving as the Director for Community-Based Partnerships and Strategy with Child Care Aware of Kentucky, one of Kate's focused areas is growing employer commitment to family-friendly policies which support a thriving workforce. Along with Kate, we have Bethany Davis, who serves as the Director of Data Evaluation and Impact at Child Care Aware of Kentucky. Bethany has extensive experience in research and data analysis and is dedicated to making data accessible, actionable, and relevant to improve outcomes and drive positive change for children, families, and communities. For the past decade, Kate has worked in the early care and education field, advancing quality and building relationships with community partners and stakeholders in Western Kentucky. So thank you so much, Kate and Bethany, for joining us and sharing your expertise today. As we were talking before we came into the webinar, this is such a need for families and for employers to help families be successful in the workforce and in their workplace. So we're really excited that you are able to share this with us today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to both of you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. It is a joy and a pleasure to be here today. For a visual description, I really liked hearing I'm a Gen X female, which that is myself. I have medium length, wavy brown hair pulled back in a ponytail today. I wear glasses, and I am wearing a white sweater with a peach colored top, and you can see my office space blurred in the background. Today, we are going to talk about a variety of resources that are available primarily through Child Care Aware of Kentucky. And Child Care Aware of Kentucky is the statewide resource and referral network that is contracted by the Division of Child Care to provide services that enhance access to safe, affordable, quality childcare for families, and also professional development for childcare providers and credentialed trainers who support the early care and education field. We are fortunate to have a team of just over 80 members that work across all 120 of our counties. I would like to share with you some information about the types of services and supports that we have available. And as you can see here, our website is childcareawareky.org. Our main supports are with childcare providers. We provide coaching in centers to help childcare providers maintain safe and regulatorily compliant childcare spaces, as well as to increase and enhance the quality of their staff professional development and the services that they provide to children. We have an online learning component. We provide professional development opportunities and coaching. And then we focus a lot of our activities on family supports. And so that is the column that you see to the far right, I believe, that shows help finding childcare, learn the Signs Act early, and then also our employer supports. And so what we'll be talking through today are those supports that focus specifically on families and how employers can help their employees with young children through family-friendly practices, family-friendly policies, and also sharing resources that are available to them for free within the community. Our goals for today is that we will describe childcare aware of Kentucky programming and support for employers. We will share state and national resources for supporting employees with young children. We will discuss strategies to assess employee needs and Kentucky-based resources available to assist in meeting those needs. And we'll provide examples of Kentucky-based employer childcare partnerships. As we consider the various ways that childcare aware supports families, employers, and the communities, I would like you to set yourself in a frame of reference. I want you to be thinking about yourself as an individual, whether a parent or not, whether a grandparent, whether a caregiver at times for a local neighbor, or none of the above. I want you to think about your individual experience with childcare, and then I would like for you to consider, has your employer had conversations about how they can help support the young families that are employed by them? And then I would like for us also to be thinking about how that impacts our experience as an overarching community, both locally and within the Commonwealth. We have a child care referral specialist who helps families determine what kind of questions they should ask to assess child care. One of the things that we've found throughout the years, and I know that I experienced this myself, is as a new parent, you may not know what's available to you in the community. You may not know where to start. It can be a very overwhelming process, figuring out how to get back to work timely and or be able to find a new job after having your children. Our child care referral specialist helps provide paper resources, and then also can help ask questions that help you figure out what is going to be best for you. I'm going to take us to a public website that, some of us in our world today may not want to have that conversation with another, and we'd like to do it on our own. I'm introverted, so I prefer those kind of things. So here you'll see that there is a statewide website called connect.ky.org, kynect.ky.gov. And there is a child care provider search option there. So when you go to Connect, you can click and you'll see that I've circled that in red there, the tab for a child care provider search. When you search for providers, you can put in an address, you can put in a city, a county, a zip code, anything that you would like to find more information on childcare that is close to you and or your place of business. Once you put in that information, I live in Georgetown, so I just chose Georgetown. You can pull up a variety of providers. This one I'm choosing today is Georgetown Child Development Center, which happens to be where my children were cared for. And you can see all sorts of information about them. You can see that they are a Kentucky All-Stars Level 5 program. You can find their address, their phone number. You can see the hours that they are available. Now, if you want to look for more details, you can even see the inspection reports that are made publicly available to you. And this is for all providers. And what do I mean by inspection reports? What I mean is each time that a child care provider gets through an annual cycle, they receive a visit by the Division of Regulated Child Care. And during that visit, all of the laws that are in place to keep children being cared for safe are included in that. And so you can look and see, what kind of inspections have they had over time? What type of struggles do they potentially have, or have they not had any type of concerns or what we would call deficiencies? And that's just really great information to have, both as an individual looking for childcare, but also within consideration of employer child care partnerships, which we'll talk a little bit more in depth about as we move forward. It's just a great resource to have available to the public. When selecting a child care program, we have additional resources, and you might be thinking, okay, Kate, you're talking a whole lot about families here, but we said we were coming to the table to talk about employers. Well, this is how it fits. When an employer sees that, yes, we have a lot of individuals in the workforce that are caring for children, we would really like to be able to prepare them with some additional information so that this search process is easier. Then one of the simple ways that can be done is through sharing the link to these resources that are available to them. Or I was actually working with an employer the other day who said, quick win, what we're going to do is we're going to put some information on the child care assistance program and also the flyer Families Looking for Childcare in our onboarding and hiring packs. And we're just going to make that a regular part of our procedure so that anyone who might possibly need that assistance can get it. So that's one way that you can see there are a variety of resources here for download that you could print, you could bring to the attention of your employer, or if you are in an HR position or another type of decision-making position in an employment setting, then you could look at some of these and see if any would be a fit for your organization. I am going now to turn over to my colleague and co-presenter, Bethany, where she is going to share some additional information about the specifics of the employer toolkit. So I'm going to stop sharing, and Bethany, you should be able to share now. Oh, we have you on mute.
Sorry about that. All right, hopefully you can see my screen now. I'm Bethany Davis, and for a description, I am an early 40s woman. I would have glasses on, and I have on a black and white patterned shirt. So thank you guys for being here. We're excited to share with you our employer toolkit. This is a resource designed for employers, community business leaders, economic development, and workforce staff. There is a QR code here on our PowerPoint, so you can access it, or you can just go to our website and click on the support tab and then select employers. So I'm going to scan through this and hopefully not go so fast to make anybody sick. We have an overview of who we are as Child Care Aware of Kentucky. And then our table of contents has some internal hyperlinks, so it navigates really easy to whatever resources you might need. This page gives some eye-opening statistics looking at what childcare costs families and the impact on a business's bottom line when employees have childcare-related absences. Employer-supported childcare benefits can include things like improved productivity, reduced absenteeism and employee turnover, and help businesses recruit and retain great employees. We've also included some links to a couple of those helpful resources, which provide some practical strategies for supporting employees with children, including employees who work non-traditional hours. We have taken our most recent market rate study and calculated the average daily price of childcare in each region to give you an idea of what families are paying for childcare expenses. I'd like to draw your attention as well to the bottom half of this page, which provides information about the Child Care Assistance Program, known in Kentucky as CCAP or Child Care Subsidy. Families who are at or below 85% of the state median income and work 20 hours per week per adult in the household, unless they meet certain exemptions, qualify for CCAP. There may be a copay required, and some childcare programs charge an additional fee to make up for the difference in the cost to private pay parents. This is legal and important to ask when searching for childcare so a family knows what they'll have to pay. Not all childcare programs accept CCAP, so that may be another important question to ask when searching for childcare. The Employee Child Care Assistance Partnership Program is a partnership between employers, employees, and the Cabinet for Health and Family Services. Employers determine a contribution to pay toward employee child care expenses, and the Cabinet for Health and Family Services matches the employer contribution based on a sliding scale associated with the employee's annual wage. Payments are made directly to the regulated child care provider of the family's choice. Families who have a gross income above 85% of the state median income and don't qualify for CCAP may be eligible for CCAP if their employer agrees to participate. ECCAP is a great resource for smaller employers and can be much easier to implement. If you have questions about ECCAP or you'd like to determine if it might be a beneficial support for your employees, Kate is a great resource for that. And we'll be sharing some examples of those employer partnerships when we finish the toolkit review. This next page includes some national resources about childcare as a workforce issue that may be of interest to you as you look for ways to support your employees. So how can Childcare Aware of Kentucky help support your workforce? Well, there are a number of ways. First, we've recently launched the Childcare Landscape Report, which provides county by county data detailing the number of programs, number of high quality programs, providers accepting CCAP, and identifies childcare deserts. So on this report, you can look at the county listing and click a particular county. And I'm going to show you for Fayette County. It shows the total number of childcare facilities, the type 1, the type 2, and the certified home. It gives the number of children in the county under age 5 and the total number of slots that are available with all the licensed childcare facilities. It gives CCAP information on which programs accept and how many CCAP kids are enrolled, and then gives information about Kentucky All-Stars participation and how many high-quality slots there are. And then we have the desert information if the county is considered a childcare desert, meaning there are more than 3 children per childcare slot, or if they're a high-quality desert. And that's a lot of terms and some that you may not be really familiar with. So we have included a list of those terms and kind of some definitions below to help with that. The landscape report may be helpful for you to strengthen workforce supports and look at what you could do for your families that you employ. We also can assist with a needs assessment. We can provide some simple questions to survey your employees about their childcare needs, analyze the results, and then offer suggestions for next steps. We can conduct presentations and lunch and learns to help employees know what to look for when choosing high quality childcare. We can explain CCAP and ECAP subsidy supports and share consumer education materials. And Kate already showed you Connect and mentioned our free in-house referral specialist so that families can find childcare that fits their needs. This next section is just a variety of resources that you might find helpful to share with your employees. Some of them are what Kate showed that were possible downloads on our website. So our Choosing High Quality Childcare explains the types of regulated care and provides an overview of Kentucky All-Stars, which is the state's tiered quality rating system. This next page is Families Looking for Childcare, and it includes a checklist on the back of things families might want to consider when visiting a potential childcare center to see if it's a good fit. These next couple of pages are some just additional things that you might want to look for as you go out and visit childcare centers, or as families are looking for certain age groups and that care. And then page 14 is a great resource for employers. It's our Childcare Aware envelope stuffer. You could put it in employee paychecks, new hire packets, or even on a bulletin board in a break room for employees who might be interested. And then we have the CCAP flyer that outlines information on eligibility and how to apply. We have that in both English, and then the next page is the Spanish version. And then finally, if you want additional support, we have regional childcare administrators who serve in each region, and we are happy and available to assist you as you consider childcare supports for your employees. So please reach out. And with that, I will turn it back over to Kate.
Just have a comment. That was great information, Bethany. Thank you for sharing. And what I would encourage employers to do, and you all may be doing this already, is to include childcare aware as part of their employee assistance program that they offer to their employees, because looking at, you all can come out and do a needs assessment, that you can provide the lunch and learns. I mean, that's huge. And the QR codes and the handouts, I mean, that is just really great. And a lot of employers could just really add to what they're already offering to their employees by adding childcare aware under their employee assistance program. And when they do open enrollment, making people aware of this as an added benefit. A question is, with the lunch and learns, could those be done in person or virtually? How are those normally done?
Yeah, so we have a regional childcare administrator in each of the 8 regions. And so you could just contact that regional childcare administrator. They could come in person, or we could do virtual, either one.
Great resources. Thank you for sharing.
I went to click the wrong button first. So I am going to take us back to our PowerPoint. And in it, you will find, I'm just going to pause here for a second so that you can capture the QR code if you're interested in gaining direct access to the information that Bethany was sharing. So I'm going to count to 10 inside and then move on. All right, so this is the portion where we're going to talk a little bit about examples of employer partnerships and what has worked with a few employers in our state. Now, there are definitely more employers than what you see on this list here that we've worked with, but some that have been really helpful models that we would like to discuss are those listed. So in Northern Kentucky, we have a really strong partnership with CVG Airport. And the way that that started is that CVG Airport they have a current CEO who's getting ready to retire, but really sees childcare as an important part of the benefits package for her staff, some way of supporting the childcare needs, and sees that as an opportunity for recruitment and retention. And so we started conversations through the entity that shows here called NKY Works. That is a collaborative group of partners that are interested in increasing access to quality childcare, increasing opportunities for their employees as far as hiring and retention is concerned, and also to share resources and help promote the types of things that we're talking about today in the Northern Kentucky community. So through that, CVG Airport was connected, and we had an opportunity through a local partnership with another entity in Northern Kentucky called called EC Learn, and also Childcare Aware. And then we had a third partner, Learning Grove, to just ask them, what are you seeking to accomplish? When you think of the overarching vision for CVG when it comes to supporting the needs of your employees, especially those with young children, what do you see? And what we learned through some of those preliminary conversations is that they had a long-term vision of an on-site childcare, but knowing that going through all of the steps that are necessary in order to create space for an on-site childcare, get approval through the various sources like the Aviation Authority and also through Kentucky, that was going to take a while. That could take 2 to 3 years to actually institute. But they didn't want to wait that long in order to start doing some of this good work. So we reviewed a lot of the information that Bethany just shared and said, what is it that we could do to help you as you work towards that long-term goal, also work towards your short-term goal? And after a variety of conversations, being able to utilize our partnerships in other parts of the state to provide sample models that they might look at, to look at the resources that were available, and to also gain support to give something a try that maybe hadn't been tried anywhere else, they came up with what's called CVG Cares. And CVG Cares is a great model. They have employees from Kentucky, Ohio, and Indiana. And so they knew that they wanted to have something that could be equitable no matter what state their employees were in. They knew that they had a dependent spending account, but that they wanted to be able to ensure that everybody knew about it and to encourage opening that dependent spending account so that they could then, CVG, could provide a dollar amount of a match or a dollar amount to assist with childcare. And when I say match or assist, what I mean by that is that some of their employees were not eligible for Kentucky benefits because they lived in a different state. However, CVG was willing to help all of their employees find the programs that were similar to CCAP here in Kentucky in their other states as well. And then any eligible employee who could utilize CCAP would still receive the exact same amount that any other employee would receive, put into their dependent spending account. If a employee qualified for CCAP, then they could use those funds for enrollment fees or for overage costs, for anything that was above and beyond what the Child Care Assistance Program was able to pay for. Or if they were not eligible for CCAP, then they could do what we call ECAP, and that is the Employee Child Care Assistance Program, where the money that CVG put into each of the employees' accounts would be matched by the state on a sliding scale dependent on the employee's income. And so it was really a multi-pronged approach to be able to say CVG is going to make this particular investment in their employees that have young children, because we know that it adds a stressor, or it can be more difficult to find childcare. It may be impacting their daily work. And these are all things that we found through the needs assessment. And they were able to say, we're going to provide this to everyone. And then depending on the employee's personal situations and how that worked, then they could receive benefits in whichever way was a match for them. So that was very exciting. They had quite a few people enter into those new agreements. They've served around 20 over the past 2 years as they have continued to move forward with this, which is not a huge amount. But if you think about the cost of turnover and what it costs to be able to retrain someone or train and onboard a new employee, the amount of money that they had committed to each of their employees was a lot less than that. And so we see that as a huge success. And CVG is a great partner. They're always willing to have conversations. If you are an employer or you know that your employer would be interested in a conversation with somebody who's made it work, we would be happy to connect you. All you have to do is reach out, and Bethany and I will leave our email addresses at the end of this presentation, and I would be happy to answer any questions you might have or make connections for you. And I know Bethany will as well. And so I'm going to stop talking now because I shared a whole lot of information. And Bethany is going to talk about a couple of key partnerships that have been some positive examples in the West.
Sure. So the Christian County Public Schools in Hopkinsville, one of the local elementary schools, is located just a few miles from a large industrial park. And the school, when they built it, expected more kids than what they ended up having. And so they had an entire wing that was vacant, and they were able to turn that into a childcare center. And they used that center to provide care for the teachers' kids, which helped retain those teachers to that district, and then sought partnerships with the employers who were located in the industrial park nearby to fill those remaining slots. So that's been a win-win for both groups and been really successful. And then the consortium model, we've got a couple different areas in Western Kentucky where economic development staff are in conversations with large employers in the county to launch a consortium model. Where each participating employer would make a financial contribution to support and sustain the childcare center. And in return, the employer receives a set number of childcare slots at that center that their employees can use. And while a project has not been fully realized yet, the discussions have been very fruitful, and it has helped employers identify the needs of their employees and thinking about practical strategies that they can put in place to retain current staff and recruit future employees. So it's a win-win for employers and the communities where they're located.
Absolutely. And I love hearing all the differences in what has worked, because this is really an individual, I'm going to say, negotiation between an employer, what they are able to commit, what their needs are, and then how they might be able to draw additional partners into the conversation. And that really looks different depending on the community, depending on the need, and depending on each employer themselves. And so I find that part exciting. I really like to be able to dig and dive deep with various partners to see, what can we do to find those win-win situations and find solutions so that all families have access to being a part of the workforce, and then also high quality childcare. So now we'll talk a little bit about what you can do to assist. I'm always interested in action items. And so if you've heard something today that you're really interested in, I encourage you to explore our website, explore the toolkit as you're brainstorming your ideas. If you're not quite sure where to move next, feel free to shoot me an email. I'd be happy to talk with you more. I'd like for you, if you are in a position of influence, to consider what family-friendly policies you may be able to encourage others to consider. So whether that is you as an employee or you as an individual who plays a leadership role within a place of employment, thinking about how do you take forward some of this information. I know I just heard someone sharing last night that they recognized that someone who was kind of working with them to have them come to be employed, they didn't realize the importance of a family-friendly leave policy. And so that was something that they were able to advocate as an employee coming on to say, if you would really like to retain me, if this is something that you would really like to be able to hire and retain me, then we're going to need to add some of this policy so that anyone who chooses to start their family is able to have leave. And the fact that one individual was able to then influence many years moving forward for everyone in that place of employment was another really interesting way to see how they're supporting families. Connect us, Childcare Aware, with partners that are interested in learning more. And we talked about the lunch and learns and the one-on-one consultations. So if you think, oh, hey, I know of this place within my local community, and I think it would be great for you guys to have a conversation, please let us know. Champion quality childcare options within your community. So if you know someone who wants to open a childcare, please send them our way. That is a part of the free technical assistance that we provide. And so anyone who is interested in opening a child care center can receive free coaching on how to go through that process. If it's a family child care home, then we partner with another entity through the Family Child Care Network in the state, and we can get them connected there as well. If you know someone who is influential and could utilize our resources, please spread the word. So feel free to share that QR code, share that link, share this presentation once it's recorded. We would really appreciate you helping us spread the word. Bethany had mentioned a couple of times that we have regional childcare administrators all across the state. And so you'll see here we have 8 administrators, and we all work together to be able to answer questions that are specific to employers, to be able to answer questions about community and economic development in the region. And so as you're considering the counties that you serve, either as an employer or an employee, or where you live, we would love any opportunity that we have to get connected or get one of our RCCAs connected with you. And so I am going to send us to our last slide. Do we have some additional questions, or did anything come up in the chat, Kimberly?
There is nothing in the chat, but we do have a few minutes. If anybody has a question or a comment, we would welcome your participation. But I definitely have become more educated about options that are available to employers to help them support their workers. And as I mentioned earlier, this is really something that I think impacts the workforce more than we realize at times, and so the stats that you put up about absenteeism due to childcare and how much it costs an employer, I think are really impactful. And we did get a comment in the chat from Deb Campbell. Thank you, Deb. She said, great information. I will definitely share this. And we will be sending this slide deck out along with your certificate of attendance in the next few days. So you will have all of the information as well that has been presented today. Don't see any other questions, but as always, if you do have questions, Kate and Bethany have put their contact information here, as well as the website for Child Care Aware Kentucky that you can research as well. And gosh, we do have some comments here. So everyone's thanking you for the information. And we also have Dana said this is excellent at SOAR with Eastern Kentucky Runway Social Enterprise Accelerator. We're looking to support community members in becoming business owners that start something that helps with workforce barriers. Love hearing more about business models that have worked. Absolutely. That's a great feedback. So thank you for that.
Yes, and can I jump in here real quick?
Absolutely.
I love to hear about that resource because there's two things come to mind. One is if someone is ever, if someone is ever there that says that I'd love to work with young children, but I just don't know what that means. I just don't know how to get that going. I just don't know how to get that started. We do have opportunities, like I mentioned before, for the health and safety coaching. But then another really great resource is sometimes we've found, especially doing the needs assessment process with employers, that maybe there's not a need for an on-site childcare. And one of the reasons that there's not a need for an on-site childcare is because the culture of that particular community, that particular workspace, is that there is a preference to have a parent stay home, which absolutely, we all have family and parent choice, right? But when we come across someone who has the disposition to be an in-home childcare provider, or who really loves to take care of children and may be willing to take care of a neighbor's child or another child, there is a law in our state that once you take care of 3 unrelated children, then you do need to go through the process of becoming regulated. And so we have we have coaches, and through our partnerships with the Family Child Care Network, there are coaches that can help people go through that thought process. And anytime that we can have a safe and quality space for a child, that increases the supports for the workforce, increases the support, and increases the care that's given to our children. So please think about that. If you hear anything that leads you to think, oh gosh, this person would really be great with young children, and they have an interest in that being their business, absolutely, we would love to talk with them to get that established.
Great information. And the fact that Child Care Aware really builds those bridges between the individual providers and the employers, that's huge too. What a great resource to be able to do that. So thank you for calling that out as well. I don't see any additional questions. Oh, Elizabeth said 20 plus years ago, on-site childcare would have helped me to get back into the field I wanted when I went back to work. But here I am now. So, but yeah, great resources. Thank you, Kate and Bethany, for taking the time to educate us on this and really just improve the workplace for families and also for employers, and to really help people be successful both at the employee level and the employer level when childcare is one less thing that they have to be concerned about, right? Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Thanks again to Kate and Bethany for sharing your expertise. We will be sending this information out in the next few days, and you can find this recording as well as all of our Retain and Employment First recordings on Retain Kentucky Media website. So with that, thank you all. I hope you have a great rest of your day.